on, everybody? This Case Study QB, and we are the political junkies. And we got our fellow PJ, Imani Oakley, in the building. And she is going to talk to us about her primary tomorrow. This is exciting. This is what we've been waiting for. We have Imani coming on the show before she decided to run, and she ran. And now the big day is tomorrow. Imani, how you doing, buddy? How you feeling?
Listen, for the first time ever, the music did not mess up when I came on here. So I'm taking that as a good omen. Like, that is a fire omen for tomorrow.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Good for you.
So I'm feeling good. I'm feeling very good. I'm tired because I've been campaigning since July of 2021. Nonstop, every single day, treating it like a job basically, and even a job where sometimes you're working 12 hours a day. So I'm very tired, but I do feel good about what we've been able to achieve. I mean, we were able to, so far, before even election day, we were able to save a Black neighborhood from having its voting power obliterated during redistricting. We've also been able to get coverage that progressive candidates in New Jersey have not received ever in the past. We've also gotten out a very good amount of political education on the ballot line. I mean, we've educated so many people who had no idea about New Jersey's corrupt ballot line system. So we had some wins already. I'm feeling good about tomorrow, but I mean, it's going to be close. It's going to be one of those like nail biters, I think. But regardless, I feel good about what we did. Zero money from corporate PACs. We're being outspent 3-1, which is like, wow. My opponent has spent nearly $1 million. Probably once tomorrow, by the time tomorrow's over, he will have spent $1 million to beat me, which is, I mean, it's great for us. That means we did a great job. $1 million, but
made them nervous.
Yeah.
I mean, he also he just had like the super PAC that supported a Trump supporter support him, endorse him as well.
He's backed by the same super PAC that not only supports Trump Republicans, but they're basically pouring money against any progressive candidate across the country. Because Amy Villa's opponent also is getting backed by them, but they're also supporting Trump Republicans. So, some people's theory about that is that they feel as though progressives are actually good to ramp up the Democratic base, and they want to beat out progressives because they know that lackluster corporate Dems are easy for Republicans to beat. So it's so nasty, the stuff that the establishment Dems are doing this cycle. But in the end, it shoots them in the foot. They are killing morale. They're making people upset. And when Democrats get upset, like, people don't go to the polls. So if they think they're going to defeat progressives, and people are going to rise up and say, yeah, like, we love what you did there, and then show up for them against Republicans, I'm telling you, I've talked to hundreds, thousands at this point, people, and people do not like what they are doing. So, we'll see what happens, but they really have put a damper, big picture wise, on Democratic morale right now.
So let the people know, what would a progressive candidate do? It's the day before the primary, like tomorrow. What does your day look like? I'm just curious.
Well, waking up, taking a shower, and all that good stuff, then going to vote. Then coming back in and checking for, anything like online that I have to do. I have a few interviews tomorrow, checking emails, making sure that everything is set with my team. In the afternoon, we will be with volunteers, just trying to make sure that, one, people got to the polls. Two, that when they did get to the polls, there was no issues. One of the things we're looking out for tomorrow is if people get to the polls and they're told they can only vote straight down a line, because that is not true and that is false information. So we are really looking out for that tomorrow. And then, of course, if that does happen, making sure that we are reporting it and that we have the correct legal to deal with that. Once the polls close, then it goes time for me to do interviews, and hopefully we'll win. I'm having a quiet thing, staying home with family. I did originally, reach out to the candidate from NJ08 to see if we wanted to have a joint thing, but we were both kind of on the same page. Like, we want to kind of recuperate, because running in New Jersey is no game, man. Like it's truly no easy feat. You're fighting against the ballot line. You're fighting against the nastiness of the machine, and then you're fighting against really people feeling very defeated and like politics doesn't matter anymore because they've endured being under the machine for so long. So it's really not an easy feat. So we're both gonna just chill out tomorrow, but hopefully we do have something to celebrate. Once polls close.
Yeah.
Do you think we'll have an answer by tomorrow? Or do you think it's going to be so close it's going to take a couple days?
I truly hope we have an answer tomorrow.
Yeah.
Because we still like Jessica Cinero's race, right? We still don't know what's going on there.
Yeah, I heard she requested for a recount as of I saw a tweet an hour ago that it said that she was requesting a recount. But yeah, we hope that we get a decisive victory. You outraised your opponent a couple quarters. Do you know how many quarters it was?
Yeah, the first quarter we outraised 2-1, and we outraised him every single time on non-corporate PAC money. He just started lobbing on the corporate PAC money, including some money from this polluter called Covanta, which is really a slap in the face to his constituents because Covanta actually is one of the biggest incinerators in Newark, which is his hometown. It's a majority Black and brown city in the district where a bunch of Black and brown kids are getting asthma because of their incinerator. And he's taking money from them. And that's his hometown. I mean, it's again, the stuff that the establishment Dems are doing is so nasty. It's truly shocking.
Wow. Yeah, so definitely just to let the audience know, I'm looking forward to having Imani back on the Case Study QB channel, win or lose, because we want to have a discussion on her experience running as a progressive with limited funds, limited amount of staff and all these the different issues, because we want to learn from this situation, and hopefully we'll be celebrating a win and even be able to multiply this blueprint throughout the country. So we'll definitely see about that. Anyone else have any questions for Imani? You're getting a lot of love in the chat. Some PJ Chris said, where she said it, good luck to Imani. There we go. Yeah.
Thank you.
Right. Gabe, any questions?
No, I just want to say it's been a pleasure. It's been a journey watching you this cycle. You're literally the only candidate I've donated to this cycle, so I'm very, very proud to say that as a PJ. You're an inspiration to all of us. You're not just talking about it; you're being about it, and we're putting in the universe for a strong win tomorrow, not a close win, an embarrassing win for your opponent. So we want to get that out there in the universe.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I mean, it's been a ride. It's a lot of hard work, but I truly believe that the machine in New Jersey can be beaten. I believe we can beat the ballot line. Now, how much will it take as far as money? We'll see tomorrow. How much will it take as far as volunteers? We'll see tomorrow. But I do believe, even if things go south for me, I do want people to know they are not insurmountable. They are not gods. I mean, look, I'm little old me who's never been elected official, never run for office before, is getting them to get out there and outspend me 3-1, right? That type of fear against somebody who has never even held office before is ridiculous, but it does show that they know they can be beaten. So, no matter what happens tomorrow, I hope folks keep pushing and pushing, because we can have a New Jersey that is in the future. We can have a New Jersey that isn't beholden to machine party bosses. I genuinely believe that.
Nice. So let's do the last question I have for you as we this will be the last question and then I'll let you go. All right. So it's June 7th, right? Oh no, it's June 8th. Congresswoman, I can't say Congresswoman yet, but you have won the primary. Imani has won the primary. What's something that you have in mind that you would love to do, or you're going to be very busy, of course, probably doing mainstream, CNN and all these different channels, but what do you plan to do in that moment?
Yeah, definitely. So not exactly on June 8th, but following that, I obviously will have all the interviews and things of that nature. I also want to, start meeting with groups and kind of get a head start on what is it that you would like to see from me? I told you my ideas and I told you, what I'm running on, but is there anything that particularly you're no, this needs to be done, or something that I missed that you would like to see done and start talking to groups so that once I do get sworn in January, I can just hit the ground running. And then also helping where I can for other progressives that still have races. I think that, we have to do a better job of some like really getting behind each other, because we see how the establishment does it, right? Like really, they do it with their worst people. I mean, Cuellar, NRA A-rated, pro-abortion, like they get behind their worst people. So we can definitely do a better job of getting behind our good people. So, I do want to help whoever still has races left, and if they want help from me in any way I can. So those are like the top things on the list.
Wow, that'd be awesome, because I know for me personally, I always complain about how our progressive champions who are in office are not out there actively endorsing early. So that'll be, I'm so excited to hear that that's one of the things that you want to do. All right, everybody, let's give a round of applause to Imani Oakley, PJ Imani, our fellow Imani. And thank you so much for coming on the show, giving us the update. And I'm definitely looking forward to doing that exit interview or 1-on-1 or champion interview, celebrating your win, either one.
So when you go to CNN, don't forget about us.
No, of course not. That is, it's one thing I won't do.
Yeah, definitely. All right, thank you so much.
And good luck, Imani, from
Get some rest, buddy.
With the super chat. He's saying good luck to you.
Good luck. Oh my gosh.
So thank you,
That's amazing.
All right. Yeah. So let's give a shout out to the people in the chat real quick. I saw Mia, got PJ Holly, we got Rafael Rodriguez, Pookie Wood. Thank you so much for the super chat. Pookie Wood, we got a $10 super chat. PJ Chris is in the building. Who else we got? All right. I think that's everybody. So let's go around the horn and say what's up to my peoples. Big Pun, how you doing?
What's up, gentlemen? What's up, PJs?
Yeah. Izzy.
Doing all right. This country is just, oh my God, it's wearing me down, but I'm still alive.
Got you. The only hope we got is the New York Rangers is what, a 2-1 series, and I never watch hockey, but it's
Don't
like
forget about the Yankees, best record in the majors.
I thought you were gonna say the only hope you got is Elon Musk.
Let's not forget about our New York Mets.
Oh yeah, but little bro, New York Mets. They're doing their thing.
Don't play yourself, Izzy. Don't play yourself.
They're the little bro. Get out of here. You're not big bro in this city. Get out of here.
You guys haven't been to World Series since 2019, in 2009.
I've been known. How you doing? Been known. Let me keep it moving.
Trying to survive.
Carlito.
Yo, man, I feel like Izzy. I think I got PTSD or something going on, but gotta pushing on.
Yeah, gotta keep pushing. John, my man.
What's up? It's Monday. Baseball is baseball. Basketball is basketball.
Yeah. You'll see how the finals go. It's been kind of entertaining.
Got some hope.
Big Gabe. We got PJ Chris wanted to know who was in Florida. So if you want to
that's me in Florida. I'm getting in the van this weekend, so I wanted to come by, start some trouble with you guys before I left.
Oh, nice.
Gonna be gone for the whole summer. So
nice. Do you have any spots you want to hit up, or if you want to let us know?
Yeah, we're going. This time we've done the south and the west, and now we're doing more northeast. So all of you guys, I was talking to Carlito. I might stop by him. Let's probably stop by John. Probably gonna at some point touch in each of your areas.
Nice.
So just the Gabe World Tour.
Come through.
Cool. Sounds good. All right, so let's get the party started. So
Gabe is gonna spend $4,000 in gas.
I'll tell you my gas hack after.
What? Go ahead. Tell us right now, because
off the record.
Off the record.
Is the FBI on?
So I just want to start off this discussion with this woman named Dianne Feinstein real quick, and how there's a tweet. A former Dianne Feinstein staffer insisted that keeping the diminished 88-year-old in office is better than a junior California senator. And I mean, this is the change of how she looked from when she first started. And I'm not trying to be an ageist, but like, Lord, I mean, and I don't care about the appearance. Let's put the appearance on the side and more care about her being able to function mentally. You know what I'm saying?
But
When you
again,
get that long,
but again, people continue to vote for her.
Yeah. Go ahead, Carlito.
I was saying, you there for so long, a privileged person there, especially for so long, you go out of touch. And the part about John, saying people continue to vote for her, you gotta keep thinking, man. They have the incumbency. You got name recognition. You have money. Most people are not like us, man. They don't know who's doing what and the minutia of the bills or whatever. They just see, hey, this is the senator. She's been around. I guess I'm doing all right. I'll vote for her.
Mm-hmm. I think it's definitely, like you said, the name recognition. People just so used to just checking that off. A lot of people just don't pay attention. They're not political junkies like us. And they just go into the booth and check that off.
But how long have you heard the name Dianne Feinstein? How long have you heard that? Why? I believe that it's a lot. When it comes to politics, a lot of people don't want to bother digging deep. And they'll just be like, oh, Feinstein. Yeah.
Exactly. And the other thing is the media is not letting the masses know about her mental acuity decreasing or her decline. Just like all the other issues they don't tell us about that's very important. They don't put emphasis on it.
That's not on the media. That's on us. That's on the people, and that's on the government. And again, term limits, people. You get to a certain point. Some people are sharp at a certain age. I get that mentally. Some people are not. So why even get to this point?
So
are you absorbing the media from them telling us like it is on the media? It's not on the government necessarily.
No, but I'm saying it's on the government in order to go. The media can go ahead and sensationalize and report on it and say, "Look at this person; they're losing it," and that's what they do with everybody. They do that with Joe. They do that with everybody. They've always done it with people.
The thing is, they never talk about her decline. Like it's a droplet here and there.
Well, she's the establishment, and the media is part of the establishment.
There you go.
For all you Yankee fans, there's two people calling games in the Yankee booth. You know it's past their time to go, but for some reason they're still around. Why?
What?
See what I'm saying?
Izzy,
who are you talking about? Who
really?
are you talking about?
John Sterling. John Sterling. Really?
Oh, you talking about radio? Well, who listens to radio?
What?
First of all, and John Sterling, that dude's a Hall of Famer. Get out of here.
And
I don't know. Is that your argument for Feinstein? I mean, what is that?
Hall of Famers get old and dementia too.
I think that's everybody's argument for Feinstein. She's a Hall of Famer. What are you doing?
Yeah,
but you don't hear John Sterling being like, and a home run for what's his name again?
No, he doesn't know how to call home runs. He's in the booth calling foul.
Somebody mute this
runs.
guy. Somebody mute this.
Of course you want to mute me. Of course you want to mute me. We got the best booth in the business. That hurts.
This is a perfect example of voters. So voters like Easy just going
right.
Sterling, vote.
Sterling.
He's the Hall of
Famer.
Famer.
Radio. Meanwhile, Michael Kay's the best announcer like in all of TV, and you over here talking about radio like that matters.
Michael Kay's drive time radio show has dropped from number one.
Why you keep talking about radio? Nobody listens to radio.
All right,
Why
so
you keep
bringing it back to Dianne Feinstein.
All right, so we're gonna move on. I think we pretty much
I was gonna say two little things.
Go ahead, Gabe.
Okay, two little things. Number one, we know like if you put like our 10 commandments of political junkies, one is term limits. Term limits for everybody. That has to be on there. It's in probably the top 5. If number 1 is no money in politics, right, Carlito? Aside from that, just I think the onus is partially on the voters, but it's bigger on the machine, on the media, on the politicians that demotivate our base. We look at the time like we look at what happened with Obama. Obama came in, big motivated people, did nothing with it. We look at now we have Joe Biden, and we had a big overwhelming victory and promised the world, and we get nothing. So we keep killing our own movements and keep alienating our base versus the Republicans that they like feed their base. They feed the beast, and we are not getting fed.
Yeah. Like we just talked to Imani about that, and how she says she talked to the people in New Jersey and how disenfranchised they feel by the Democrats, etc.
I think we have a Carlito rundown later talking a little bit about that.
Yeah. Real quick on the topic. I think it's also like like this is when it comes with what we always talk about, how the Democrats are really bad at politics, right? Like they should kind of be talking to her and say, hey, like, you know, there is a possibility of California getting a Republican governor. And if for whatever reason you are defined that you can't do your job, the governor is going to replace somebody, and he's going to pick a Republican replacement. You know, we talk about California, but California has had Republican governors. We talked about, you know, a lot of people are not too happy with Newsman. So why do they have to wait to the last minute and to do something rather than trying to just say like, hey, you know, you've done your time, you've done whatever you have to done. Let's bring whatever candidate we think we are that we think could be the next you, and like that you don't have to give it to the governor to decide.
Can't do that because you have to incentivize her. She's not gonna leave a cushy job, you know, doing all her behind this bag stock trades, making money, all that. Who's gonna just willingly leave for the betterment of the party or the people?
Exactly.
No, but no. You're not gonna have to incentivize it, but you just how they support her. They could say, look, you could get two. You have two choices. We either bring you out or you go out graciously. Like that's how the Republicans really do it.
How you gonna force her out? She has a lot of seniority. She has a lot of corporations backing her. You know, that benefit from her. How you know?
So you think like the you think the establishment can't go and find a candidate that they go get behind it?
I think the establishment wants her there. That's my point. That's the tweet.
That's what I'm saying. That's my point. They do want her there. They do want her there because, well, that's what I'm saying. If something were to happen to her,
you know, they don't.
If something were to happen to her and they get a Republican governor is going to pick someone else. Is going to pick a Republican candidate to replace her.
All right, we're gonna move on. I got a video I want to show you guys.
Sometimes, man, it's like y'all know who the Democrats are. You expect them to do other stuff and then disappointed. Come on, man.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna play a video, so don't say anything. Unfortunately.
Sure. I mean, first we have people don't follow them. Sure. I mean, first we have to start enforcing the laws. When you don't enforce laws, people don't follow them. You know, the homeless crisis is a mental illness and drug addiction crisis. The data now show that 3 times more homeless people are killed in California than in Los Angeles, than in New York City, even though we have fewer homeless people. And the reason is because we don't require people to stay in shelters. It's dangerous to let people stay outside. We have open air drug markets, open air fentanyl markets that are killing our children. As governor, I'm going to shut them down. I'm going to require that people sleep inside. Nobody has to go into a shelter, but you can't sleep outside. It's dangerous. It's disrupting our civilization. It's killing our children. We're going to get back to law and order. We can have compassion. We can get people the psychiatric care, the drug rehabilitation that they need, but we should not be emptying our prisons without rehabilitating the prisoners. We need to enforce our laws. We need to raise standards rather than lowering them. Yes. We need to build the power plants and the water storage facilities that we need so that we can power and maintain our civilization.
Exactly.
Sure. I mean, first.
All right. So let me.
This guy hit like 10 topics at once.
Right. So the point I wanted to emphasis was this. You heard how he wanted to solve the homeless problem. He wants to outlaw homelessness by saying that we're going to require you to be inside. What does that mean?
You must have a home.
Yeah, like
done, solved.
I know, right?
Shelter, but okay, so what's the option? Especially that, you know, Tally Horse saying shelters are dangerous too.
Right.
There are situations where people don't want to stay in shelters because they get robbed.
Yeah.
Or worse. Or worse.
We saw in Utah how they did a program where they actually gave people good housing and apartments that were homeless, and the turnaround rate of people coming out of homelessness. A lot of people just need a chance, need a step up, need something. But as you guys just touched on, the current shelter system is not great. There's better ways to do it. We've been doing it the same way for 50 years, and we've got to rethink it, reimagine it, and go back to the drawing board and do it from scratch. Oh yeah, American Wasp had a good comment earlier. I missed it flashing the screen right when Case was putting on that one. It's like there's all these issues that we should be. And most importantly to me, I've been saying it for a while, is that kick Cinema and Mansion out of the party. This big tent is dead. We got to get them out the party. Say they're persona non grata and they are no longer considered Democrats, but we don't have the fortitude to do that.
fortitude.
Well, let's talk strategy real quick before we move on to the we're gonna do Carlito's rundown after this. So let's say right now you're saying they should get kicked out right now in this
Immediately
moment?
and run on it and
Immediately?
run against them and primary them. Oh, we can't primary them for like 3 years, but
Yeah, I would. 'Cause I'm thinking strategy. There might be some things that they do vote on with the Democrats, but I think at this point, I think I would agree with you just because BBB is not going down. The Build Back Better bill is not getting passed. Police reform. We just saw the shooting that went down, and Chuck Schumer said he's not going to put up gun reform to be voted on. So it's like we're at a point. We're almost in that lame duck part of Congress now anyway. So we might as well kick them out and set an example. Say, hey, anybody else that wants to act like a Cinema and a Joe Manchin, this is what's going to happen to you.
Wait,
Yeah.
but J. Paul told us that the BBB were gonna get it in a nice bowl for Christmas.
Listen, why? I don't understand. Yeah, we gotta get whatever. These people, they're like the shield. Okay, they're the ones taking the bullets for the other 20 Democrats that thinking the same thing as them. Who's gonna vote to get him out? Well, how are they gonna get him out?
Right.
Manchin is gonna leave on his own, but Cinema's not going anywhere.
Oh, Cinema is the least favorite senator with the least amount of polling, and there's a lot of vitriol for her in Arizona. The only question is there going to be a Republican that gets into that seat? I think she's gone, but that's the question.
She's gone. It's not because the DNC didn't help her. Okay, but they'll help her stay.
There's a lot of progressive Democratic vote groups at the local level, at the state level, that I think want to get her out. Like, so our man Kirk Schrader, the only reason he got out was finally the local Democrats said, hey, we're not supporting Kirk Schrader. We're going to go with this other woman who's, from what I understand, she's progressive. And they got Kirk Schrader out. Even though I agree with you guys, he did get support from Biden. Like, Biden literally went and supported him when the guy was blocking his agenda. But we know who Biden is.
The only way to get these people out is from the bottom up, man. That is the only way. That's why I say you can primary everybody. You can primary, I don't care. You can primary anybody that we like, that we love. They still should be primary to keep their, fire on their butt. That's the only way. You gotta get people coming in, progressives, primary, build a bench, start small, build up. That's the only way. That's the way that the Republicans have been doing it forever. Right now, they're talking about this hyper local stuff, getting into the school boards, getting people into the local Republican parties, and building from there. That's the only way.
Do you think the Justice Democrats were trying to do that?
I mean, they tried with different candidates, right? But at some point, I don't know, they got engulfed in it. They got too DC-ish.
That's where cynical people they hear what you're saying, but then I'd be like, look at what Justice Democrats do.
Like, I mean, what better alternative?
People's Party, we're screwed.
Well, you know what I'll do in the last 10 minutes of this of our show? I want to discuss my idea because Gabe, I don't think you even know about it. I might have discussed it with the rest of the guys, but we're gonna have this because I'm the type of guy that, I will complain about the current system that we have, but at the very least, I'm gonna try to come up with something. Like we already created a People's Gauntlet, and so there's another idea that I'm gonna throw at you. But right now, we're about to go to.
All right.
Hey.
There's one good thing about this show is that intro.
It's the greatest thing ever.
It's that picture. We need to do it before and after for you.
Yeah.
Rick
Outro
Ross.
too.
Rick Ross.
All right. First story. Put it up. Be Don. Supreme Court. Let's precedent.
No. Wow.
What happened?
Echo.
Oh, that's my fault.
You got it.
So 83.
Check. All right. Supreme Court guts its own precedent to allow Arizona to kill Barry Jones, embracing the state's claim that innocence isn't enough. The court destroyed a lifeline for people who received poor lawyering at trial. So pretty much, this case was about somebody had crappy lawyers. Everybody knows it, but the Supreme Court said that's no excuse for you not to die. That's pretty much it. My favorite guy in the whole wide world, Mr. Clarence Thomas.
Oh,
Uh, he's,
oh.
in a dual sovereign system, federal courts must afford unwavering respect to trials in state court, Thomas wrote. Federal courts lack the competence and authority to relitigate a state's criminal case. So if a state mess up and a federal court says like, hey, you guys messed up, let's fix it. He says like, nah, the states know better. So what does it say about Supreme Court? In that federal, that means you don't know jack. He ain't crap. Like, what do we listen to this? Man, I'm about to start cursing. Let me just stop this. Go ahead. Go ahead, Gabe, man. Tell me something.
I mean, what have we learned? We learned another commandment of the PJs is there should be no death penalty. We know that anywhere from 4 to 5% of people that are on death row are innocent at any given time, and many of them are often executed when it's too late. And the only solution is outlaw the death penalty. If we had any other justice system or any other, imagine a food that was out there that killed 1 in 20 people that ate it. Like the fact that this is allowed in a civilized country, or we consider to be a civilized country in 2022, is preposterous, and it needs to be outlawed. This is a perfect example. There's so many things. It could be incompetence of the lawyer. It could be new evidence, DNA evidence that we didn't have. Like if you're on not even just death row, but life in prison, there should always be an opportunity to get out if new evidence is brought. And this fact that prosecutors' incompetence can just leave somebody to die is just a microcosm for all the problems that we have in this country. It's the preposterousness over common sense.
Man, and one thing about this, man, they had a precedent 10 years ago that the Chief Justice John Roberts and Samuel Alito voted for to give people that had horrible lawyers a chance to redeem, a redemption, and don't have, because I mean they were innocent. But those two people that went and switched votes and voted with Thomas, because they don't care about precedent anymore. So over here they're saying they're comparing it to it's a law professor, Leah Littman, is a constitutional law professor, comparing the decision to the leaked draft opinion in Dobbs v. Mississippi, which stands to overturn Roe v. Wade. Both, she wrote in an article for Slate, make clear that the court's conservative supermajority is hell-bent on smashing and grabbing precedent and constitutional rights, no matter the consequences. They just don't care anymore. They're just trying to do. They want death. They want to kill people. So let it happen.
So my question is, will we ever get the Supreme Court reform that I was surprised to see establishment Democrats are asking to expand the court? We got people who used to work for Hillary Clinton are trying to galvanize the Democrats to expand the courts. Do you guys think anybody think that will ever happen?
I mean, it could happen. It could happen, but
it could, but it won't. Because
it could, but it won't.
The Democrats won't even call out Manchin. You think they're gonna pack the court, which is what I think most of us would want on here. If it was the opposite way, the Republicans would consider packing the court. If we had a 6-3 majority of liberal, they would 100% pack the court, because that's what they do. They do whatever it takes to win. They are a fight dirty, fight whatever they want to do. They claim the election stolen. They do whatever they want. And we're trying to play by a set of rules that the other team is not playing by, and we're the only ones that lose because of it.
Yeah, but if for whatever miracles, they have, let's say Charles Booker wins, and let's say they pick maybe a progressive here or 2 seats, right? Let's say like, miracles could happen without losing, and they have 50 votes without Sinema and Manchin, let's say, right? They're not going to be able to hide under those two. So it could happen, because we know that all these progressive candidates are all about packing the court. So I wouldn't say never. I don't see the Democrats taking over the Senate. Like I just don't see it. So
You don't see them taking over the Senate, meaning like keeping the Senate,
keeping it, or like or expanding it. Like I just
Well, we got Fetterman, man. Fetterman, I saw today he got into some issues with the fact that he almost died. Apparently, that it just recently came out that he almost actually died. So mainstream media is definitely hitting him hard with the fact that his campaign didn't have the transparency. That's only going to help Dr. Oz, who's going to be his opponent. But that's potentially a seat that the Democrats can pick up. What else? Charles Booker.
You guys think Ron Paul?
Yeah, what you guys think about that campaign right now?
Yeah.
Anybody optimistic?
I'm optimistic.
It's Kentucky, man. I think it's Kentucky, and I think that he's out there. He's doing the. I think it's going to be closer than what a lot of people think. So I don't think it's a slam dunk for Rand Paul. Obviously,
the only thing is somebody said it is a midterm election, like it's not a presidential election, so there's going to be less turnout. So would that favor or hurt?
I don't know, but I have some kind of hope in Booker because he's not like the typical Democrat who's going to take it easy. If you guys saw his ad,
I saw that.
He's bold. He's out there. He's gonna make people know what's at stake. He's gonna make people know, hey man, are you for the right thing or the wrong thing? Like you put your money where your mouth is type deal. And even if it loses, I think it sets a precedent and it also helps him get his name out there for a better run in the future.
Yeah. I see Pookie Wood said he did an ad with a noose. That's a bad look. So that's what we were just talking about, Carly.
I think that's a great look. I think
it's a very what's the word I'm looking for? Like it's definitely going to hit you. It's a memorable. You're going to remember this ad, definitely.
Yeah, because it made a point. I mean, Rand Paul voted for it was an anti-lynching law, and Rand Paul said like, nah, let's keep it. So it's like, so you want to vote for the guy that wants to lynch people? Straight up. Yeah. I mean, you can vote, say yeah, but just know who the hell you are. If you're a racist, you're a racist. Live with it. Say it with your chest.
Yeah, definitely. That's a good idea. I'm gonna try to see if I can get the ad and we could play it. But let me see what so we got a no count zone in the chat right now with Pookie Wood and us who likes the ad. So much love to you,
Pookie Wood. Chris, PJ Chris, you said I actually know someone who was released from jail through the Innocence Project for a terrible crime. He now funds a scholarship fund for law students who want to be helped to get innocent people out of jail through the University of Cincinnati. So that's a great story right there. I mean, people, if it was up to Clarence Thomas, nobody would get a second chance. Even if you're guilty, just go ahead and die.
Okay, so I found the ad. There's a minute that we're going to play it shortly, but I want to ask you about your Senate, your race, Carlito, with Warnoff. How you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. It's not gonna be a slam dunk or anything like that because unfortunately, it's about name recognition, popularity, and Herschel Walker has that. He could say a whole lot of dumb stuff, but
do you think Warnoff has gotten his name out there enough, even though this is only 2 years or so he'll be in there?
Yeah, I think he's I mean, at least he's trying. I'm getting stuff from him. He's putting ads out there. Okay. So he's trying. So I think it has a good chance.
You think he'll be able to paint Herschel Walker as like that extremist Republican?
I don't know. I haven't seen negative ads, but he needs to.
Did you guys see Killer Mike had him on?
Had who on?
Had Herschel Walker.
Was that Walker? I saw a clip, but I thought it was an old clip.
Nah, yeah, it was a clip where he
was it a favorable interview or was he a hard-hitting interview?
So it's a mixed interview. I was reading reviews of the interview, and they were like, "Well, this just proves that he's just not ready because he was given some questions that he answered, and they still weren't straight answers." And then there was other people that said, "Hey, for the first time, it looks like he actually engaged somebody. I don't know why, but it looked like he engaged. I don't know how good these answers were, but he didn't look as bad as he usually looks."
Yeah, I just remember one question when they asked them about how he feels about college students getting paid for their name and likeness. Right. And he said no, like they shouldn't, and that's like ridiculous. But that was in the context of a bigger video that I watched where basically he's always been Uncle Tom, back then, they will say how even in his hometown, when even he was in high school, they had like a racist sheriff, and they students who even like I think they quit the track team in protest over something, and he was like, "Nah, I'm going to practice. I'm going to keep going." And the sheriff was like, "Yeah, he's a good boy. He's always welcome here." Stuff like that. Even back then, he would never stand up to anything. Other leaders of the era, the civil rights era, were saying, "Yeah, Herschel Walker, he's pretty much a sellout."
See, so that's something that Warnoff, and then we're going to go to this ad. Warnoff could really hit Herschel Walker, at least in the college towns, and say, "Hey, Herschel Walker doesn't want college students making any money."
Yeah.
And maybe I don't know if that would help him, but because young people unfortunately don't vote as much. All right, let me bring up this ad. I'm going to play the whole thing actually. All right.
All right, cool.
Here we go.
Persists to this day. In Kentucky, like many states throughout the South, lynching was a tool of terror. It was used to kill hopes for freedom. It was used to kill my ancestors. Now, in a historic victory for our Commonwealth, I have become the first Black Kentuckian to receive the Democratic nomination for U.S. Senate. My opponent, the very person who compared expanded health care to slavery. The person who said he would have opposed the Civil Rights Act. The person who single-handedly blocked an anti-lynching act from being federal law. The choice couldn't be clearer. Do we move forward together, or do we let politicians like Rand Paul forever hold us back and drive us apart? In November, we will choose healing. We will choose Kentucky.
Love it.
Yeah. Okay.
That's a great ad.
I love it because he's putting it in a way of uniting the state. Like, are you want to heal the state, or you want to keep this racist piece of crap around?
Yeah. All right. Let's move on to the next article because time is
look.
flying. Yeah.
I don't know what's a pun. I don't know pun not feeling it.
No, I'm saying not a good look for your boy Rand Paul, who's sitting there
okay.
Okay.
With his little facial expression was funny. Right? Cool.
All right. Next story. We're moving it on.
Yeah. Let's move it on.
Oh, I forgot to mention. That story is from the Intercept. Liliana Segura and the Intercept. Got to give props to the Intercept. Always gives good stories.
Oh, the other one, right? Yeah. Here's her name, Liliana.
Right. This one's from Politico. It's going to be an army. Tapes reveal GOP plan to contest election, placing operatives as poll workers and building a hotline to friendly attorneys are among the strategies to be deployed in Michigan and other swing states. By Heidi Prisvilla. I mean, this plan, as outlined by the Republican National Committee staff in Michigan, includes utilizing rules designed to provide political balance among poll workers, to install party-trained volunteers prepared to challenge voters at Democratic majority polling places, developing a website to connect those workers to local lawyers, and establishing a network of party-friendly district attorneys who could intervene to block vote counts at certain precincts. Needless to say, Black precincts. Okay, needless to say, but I say it anyway. But this just shows the long game. This is how the Republicans always think 3 steps ahead, 10 steps ahead. They're planning to train people, use rules established to keep the poll workers balanced, to funnel just their people, train them ahead of time, have district attorneys all over the country ready to protest, sue, block people's votes if necessary. I mean, is it evil genius maybe? But it's evil. What you think, Pun?
So we've all and it's funny because Gabe was talking about how they would go ahead and do what Democrats won't. The Democrats get dirty when they want to get dirty against other Democrats, but when it comes to these guys, they do not do that. So for you to go ahead and just insert yourself in this part of the election there's got to be something against that. There's got to be, and maybe they found a way. Maybe you say, "Yay, it sounds good," but it's horrible. It's completely horrible. Is once again a way of them not going ahead and counting votes. It could be anybody that, and they're training somebody who works there to be like, this one, I'm sorry, I've been trained, so I know that this person should be blocked. Really? So it's bad. It's a bad look. It's a bad precedent. If when the Democrats catch on, they'll be doing it too, and then what? It'll be too late by then. But nonetheless, they're going to catch on to these horrible tactics, and it undermines the entire system. And just like people in New Jersey that just have given up, this is more and more. They're making more difficult and harder and worse.
The Democrats are not going to catch on to this unless it's a primary and they're fighting progressives. Then they might use this type of tactic.
Again, they're going to use it against their own arm.
Yeah, but this reminds me of the Brooks Brothers riot. You guys remember this situation back when George Bush versus Al Gore, and they were going in Florida, exactly 2000.
Where Ginny Thomas was involved.
Yeah, and PJ Chris in the building. You might remember this situation, and that was like a spur in the moment. But this sounds like a more organized.
It was not, though. It was not. It was planned to. That's why they call it Brooks Brothers riot, because it wasn't. The spur of the moment was that there was a whole bunch of people in Brooks Brothers suits. There were people protesting, but they had lawyers,
consultants,
law students there.
Yeah, there were consultants and staff members of Republicans that did it. But what I mean by that is, like, we can see that they're planning this months out. Before the actual, you know what I'm saying? That's what I'm talking about as is more planned. But let's keep it moving because I got like 4 minutes and I want to get to my idea. I really want to hear Gabe's opinion on it.
All right, let's do the quickly next one from Politico as well. Biden sees exodus of black staffers and some frustration among those who remain. The White House is historically diverse, but there are concerns internally about a wave of departures and the current culture. By Daniel Libman at Politico. Basically, this is what they're saying. We're here, we're doing a lot of work, but we're not decision makers, and there's no real path toward becoming decision makers, says one of the current Black White House officials. There is no real feedback, and there's no clear path to any kind of promotions. So people are leaving. Some of them are leaving. I mean, they're leaving in good terms. Some of them, they're not burning bridges, but they don't see a way to get ahead. They don't see black faces in charge. There's no way for them to become people in charge. So they're out. So what do you think about that?
I feel like before I started reading the article, I was ready to give it to Biden. I was ready to claim, make this ridiculous claim that he's probably like, if you don't stay in my cabinet, you're not black, or something else ridiculous like that. But the more I read through it, the more I was like, you know what, this is probably a combination of a lot of things. Probably the main thing being the pandemic. This kind of stuff is happening all across not only the country but also the world. And they are leaving, in a lot of cases they are leaving for better positions. Yes. And just with that, you are going to see less black faces around. Like, it's unfortunate. Biden needs to do something about that. But I don't think that this is as nefarious as I first thought it was going to be. It just happens to be that some of these black folks that never had opportunities in the White House are not getting them and making better opportunities out of them. So, I'm not, I'm never Biden's fan, but I almost kind of wonder if this is even really news after I read through it more,
I thought they got tired working for the most progressive president in history.
It's like they left, and some of them left for better opportunities, but that's because they didn't have better opportunities in there. They said they describe an operation in which mentorship is hard to come by. An opportunity to move the ranks of a tight-knit operation is exceptionally rare. So there's no upper mobility, so they have to go somewhere else.
Yeah, I hear you. I mean, I do feel like it's a problem that's going on all across many industries right now, just because of the way the pandemic is. I see it in my company too. Like, I want to get out because I have the same lack of opportunities. So I don't know. It's hard to say if that's really a Biden problem now. And we do know that he has the most diverse White House in history. That is true, John. Even though I know my progressive comment isn't necessarily holding up all these months later.
But point of information: don't administrations lose staffers progressively as the years go on? I mean, I remember even in Trump, I remember he had Omarosa and he had a bunch of people, and all of a sudden they started getting little by little disillusioned, or they left, or they were pushed out. Like,
and those are mostly on bad terms.
Yeah,
correct. So
the problem is that people of color are leaving, but people of color are not being the replacements. So that diversity is getting lost.
Yeah, they're claiming in the article that Biden is saying that he will replace them with people of
Yeah.
diverse backgrounds and color. I mean, but who knows? We'll have to see it.
The last thing I'll say before we move on is that I was listening to a historian on the FDR era, and he talked about how, like, once you was in the White House, and FDR was there for like 4 terms,
Years. Yes.
they did not leave. Like, they cared so much about their position, about the country, and what they were doing, that it's only a recent modern phenomenon where, and you're right, it's not just the Biden administration, it was Trump, it was Obama, where you would have the press secretary be there for like the first year or two. Look, what's the name? She just left and joined
Psaki just left. Right.
Yeah. Right.
Right.
Simone is just joined MSNBC after like a year and a half or something like that. So they're more about themselves. How can I use my position during the campaign? Okay, I was with the Biden campaign during the primary. Okay, now I'm in the White House. How can I use it to get to the? That's what it seemed like. Even when she was with the Simone Sanders, she was with the Bernie, and she left Bernie's campaign back in when he ran in 2016 prematurely before it was even over, because I guess she's sort of writing on the wall and she wanted to get in good with the establishment as soon as possible, and it worked out for her in the end.
I want to make one other quick point from the article. It was a good point too. A lot of these positions, they even said, like, especially some of the lower level ones, you're starting at $48,000 a year. If you are a white political science major, coming from a wealthy background, you can afford to have a $48,000 a year salary in DC and still stick it through in the White House. But if you're coming from a lower income family and this is, one of your first opportunities as a black person to get out, $48,000 a year is just not going to cut it. So there is that piece of it too that I thought was really enlightening.
That's true. And the revolving door, the way it works is that when you're working for the White House, the outside lobbyists, they'll come and smooth you and say, hey, if you can get this policy passed or prevent this policy from happening, you can find a job with us making 6 figures and up. So that happens a lot of times as well. All right.
They'll give us the token wins. They'll give us first Black, first LGBT, first Spanish, first Native American, whatever. They love doing those things, but they don't really do the work on upward mobility, and they don't do the work on actually passing policies that inspire people to work the way that you guys were alluding to earlier.
Or
so
keep them there, or let them move up, or find opportunity within the sucks.
Hey man, it was a movie Wall Street. Say greed is good.
By the way, Case, you can't compare the FDR years. I mean, this were war years. People stuck around because it was for the good of the country. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, people have pensions back then.
It's different.
That's a good. I mean, I think we still have pensions in the government, but I wonder what it was even before that. So that's a good point. But I wonder if the administration before FDR, if it was the same thing, that the people really took their job seriously and was there for the whole 4 years.
But just the culture of work back then was much different. You stayed with one company for your whole career. You stay there till you retire. So it was just different back then. The mindset.
Yeah, everything ended like in the 70s. When starting getting rid of pensions and doing 401ks instead.
I think they still have pensions though, because I know as a congressperson, if you're there for 3 terms, you automatically get a pension.
But I mean, in general, the era of private company pensions.
Yeah.
There's like 10 companies that still do it. That's it.
Yeah, forget about it. Get a 401k and you'd be happy with that.
Last story. How a Social Security program piled huge fines on the poor and disabled. The remarkable penalties led to tumult inside the office of Inspector General Gail Ennis, where a whistleblower was targeted for retaliation, an administrative judge found, by Lisa Rain at the Washington Post. So the first story, the beginning of the article talks about somebody whose partner died of kidney cancer. One day, then a federal agent knocked on Gail Dexman's door outside of Chicago and told her she was in trouble. But she had kept thousands of dollars in Social Security disability benefits that should have stopped when he died. Not her fault. The money kept coming. She thought she was supposed to get them because that was, her spouse. Well, she thought that the Eggman told the agent she thought that a $1,400 check deposited each month into an account to which she had access was a payment for land her partner had sold in Michigan. She spent the money on rent and clothes and gifts for her grandchildren. Then The Inspector General's office, which investigates disability fraud and tries to recoup money for the government, ultimately charged her $119,392, nearly 3 times what she received in error. So her $704 check that she was going to get from Social Security is going to be taken, and she could apply again for retirement in 2032 when she's 83.
Yeah, it's absolutely nuts. Absolutely nuts. I think that it's these are the poor and the middle class people who are suffering. Like, how do you expect someone who's she's currently 80? Oh no, she's not 83 right now, right? She's up in
Not
age. How do you expect them to get a decent job and be able to pay this off? Like, first of all, I thought that she would be able to legally, her partner died, retrieve that money legally. I thought maybe
Mhm.
partner means that she's not like married. I don't know if that was the case.
Yeah, the partner died. But I mean, regardless, the fact is that however much money you get in error, they charging you in fine.
Interest or something like that, right? They give you fines and interest. I mean, that's absolutely is absolutely ridiculous. My question
Yeah.
is, when the rich people, right, they find all these loopholes. Jeff Bezos is collecting. They means test, but Jeff Bezos, the richest person in the world, was able to get the child tax credit because we can have all these loopholes. And here we have this poor woman who's up in age getting minimum wage. She's flipping burgers and they expect her to pay back all these fines. It's absolutely nuts.
Yeah, so it says that the inflated fees were set in motion during the Trump administration when attorneys in charge of a little known anti fraud program run by the Inspector General's office levied unprecedented fines against Deckman and more than 100 other beneficiaries without due process, according to interviews, documents, and sworn testimony before an administrative law judge. In doing so, they disregarded regulations and deviated from how the program had recovered money since its inception in 1995, failing to take into account someone's financial state, their age, their intentions, and level of remorse, among other factors. So this was around the time when the Trump administration was defunding the IRS and focusing on poor people and doing audits instead of like millionaires, because one, to protect their peoples, the millionaires, and two, because it's easier to go against people that are don't have the means to fight the IRS.
Yeah.
And this is BS.
I was about to say that, like, she said in the article she can't afford a lawyer to fight this back, and I think, and somebody put in the chat that if she's close to 60, she needs a lawyer that she should be able to keep that money. Yeah,
I mean,
PJ
they
Chris
have
said that.
the rules. They have a whistleblower. That's why there's a whistleblower in there, because they completely messed up. But I want to touch some of the people here. It said a Chicago woman was fined $132,000 because she received $10,618 in benefits wrongly. So 10,000 that she got by mistake, she got fined 132. Somebody else in Denver, $15,000 by mistake, a fine of 168,000. Somebody else, 47,000 by mistake, a fine 435,000.
And I read that changed under the Trump administration, right? I believe.
Yeah, they started doing it then.
But that's no excuse. We're under a new administration. They should be able to appeal or do something differently for the people. But
yeah, I mean,
if they had insider traded, they would have just had to pay half of it back.
Yeah,
and been home in 18 months.
They would have paid a fine,
Exactly.
like $100 fine. After they made them millions of dollars, they would pay $100.
Exactly.
And if the mistake is on their side, forget it. You'll be lucky if you see it in the next 5 years. I have a claim going back with the IRS from 2018 that I sent the letter for, and they still haven't done anything about it, where they're trying to double charge us on our on my income. So it's crazy. They're saying I owe all this money, and I'm like, no, you guys just got the wrong information. And they're like, they send me letter after letter after letter saying, we received your letter, but we still have not had a chance to look at it. So they sent me like 5 of those letters already. We're just acknowledging receipt, and we need more time. But if it's you, they'll bury you in the ground.
When you got to pay them, it's quick. But when they got to pay you, it ain't.
When they got to fix something, you call them and they tell you, like, please call back tomorrow. Please call back. I spent 10 days to try to get a hold of somebody.
There was a story last year from, I believe it was Citibank, and they were paying a loan back for Revlon, I think it was a makeup company, you know, and they're supposed to pay in installments, but they paid a bunch by accident. Like instead of paying the installments, it was like 10 million. I don't know, a bunch of millions by mistake ahead of time.
Mhm.
When they were like, "Yo, let me get this money back because I paid it by accident," the judge was like, "Nah, son, you paid it too bad." So so sad.
What?
It was
Yeah,
like
that is
it's like paying ahead your
crazy.
student loan. You don't get the money back.
Yeah, that sounds like when the cops confiscate like money and drugs, and
Mhm.
then they, let's say it was money that they supposed to give it back, but they never give it back.
It
The
stays in
cops.
the evidence locker.
Oh, that's the oh my god,
There's a technical name for it. I
civil
can't
asset
remember.
forfeiture.
There we go. That's what that reminds me of for some
Yeah.
reason. All right, since it's 9 o'clock, real quick, Gabe. Since I have you here, I think this is the first show with Big Pun and Gabe on it, right?
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Nice. All right. So real quick,
Your
this is
replacement
the
game.
idea that I came up with that I'm working on with somebody right now. Matter of fact, we have a meeting about it tomorrow. It's called the Mutual Aid Political Party, and the idea is, instead of going around and having your volunteers knock on doors and you're promoting yourself, me. Let's say it's Gabe Cologne. You're running in your district of Florida.
Mhm.
You have your team together, and you get your volunteers, but instead of just focusing on your campaign, it's a mutual aid first organization, meaning that you have your volunteers knocking on doors, try to reach every door that you can in your district and say, knock, hi, I'm with the Gabrielle Cologne campaign. We're a mutual aid political party, and we want to know, how can we help you today? Or how can we help you later on? Do you need your lawn cut? Maybe do you need you have a couch that needs to be taken out, that you live by yourself, that you need somebody to come and help you with? Do you need anything? Do you need dentistry work? We have a deal with your local dentist that they'll do it at a very steep discount and we'll pay for it. Something like that, where you're doing mutual aid. And also you say, hey, what kind of service do you have that you can help your neighbor with? Oh, you're a lawyer, you can do pro bono work. Okay, we'll write your name down, and you could build up a directory of professions that now you're having an infrastructure of neighbors helping neighbors, and you have your name connected to it, right? So and you're doing this 2 years in advance. So like now, a year before the primary or 6 months before, you say, hey, by the way, this Gabrielle Cologne Mutual Aid political party that's been helping you this whole time? Well, Gabrielle Cologne is running for office, and we're hoping to bring the same mindset to Congress. And at the worst case scenario, what you just did was create an infrastructure that you helped a whole bunch of people. Like, let's say like Imani, her primaries tomorrow, and let's say you lose, you could say, hey, we lost tonight, but we just helped and organized 10,000 people. We helped 5,000 people. We helped this person get their their teeth fixed. We help these people get their lawns mowed. And you could just go down the list on that night and say, this was not an unsuccessful campaign, even though we lost, and we're going to be back at it in 2 years. What you could think about that?
Sounds like communism to me. No, no, but in all seriousness, I like it a lot. I think that what you were saying, that I didn't think it was going that direction. When you said mutual aid, I was thinking more of like, okay, we're co-campaigning and stuff like that. But just the fact of giving to the community, you're being in service, we're public servants. And I think there's a really strong branding message there. Maybe not the mutual aid organization or party. I think there's probably a better marketing name out there, but the concept and what you're doing for the community, and then being able to go in a debate and say, hey, we've already done this with 5,000 people and we've helped people in all these different ways. Imagine when we have power. That's a very strong sell to make. Can we reimagine as a community things like healthcare? Like there's all these there's some religious organizations that do like community healthcare buy-in, stuff like that. Like if we can be smart, maybe we don't get the policies that we get from our politicians, but are there workarounds that we can come up with that accomplish those same goals, separate than the government? prove them out and show how successful they can be. So
the idea is, instead of you asking for volunteers and asking for money, which is what 100% pretty much of all these campaigns do, they just is like, give me, is you're going out there and saying, hey, I'm immediately helping you right now. So imagine what I could do if I get into office. It's kind of that idea. Black Panther Party also used mutual aid. They had the breakfast feed the children breakfast
The breakfast program. Yeah.
program, and they also had like an aid doctors that they would try to, you could go there for free and get different testing. So it's something like we want to use that model and also bring it over here to this this idea. And there's a good book called Mutual Aid by David Spade that I'm halfway through it, and is one thing that I love about that it talked about in the book, that it said mutual aid is not charity. Like, charity is a system of the rich who they're like, they give you little crumbs and make themselves feel good. You know what I'm saying? So mutual aid is a whole different, don't think of it as charity. But anyway, 9:06, we went into PJ overtime. Any questions about that?
sounds great. I love it. Let's make it happen.
All right, let's do it. All right, guys.
Case
questions?
trying to buy those boats. I'm buying you boats. Buying you boats
way.
in return. I'm doing
Hey.
this for you.
Mow your lawn, do all of that.
And Andrew, what's it? Andrew Yang was talking about UBI. He was trying to buy votes too. So we'll see if it's legal. Hopefully, it's legal. But
It's gonna
as
be
we
like
leave,
the mutual
give
aid
a quick
party
shout
of
out.
New Jersey endorses down paying.
I know, right? Hopefully that no. As long as I'm involved, that's not happening. But let's give a shout out to Mario C was in the building. PJ Holly was in the building. Paul Patrick was in the building. Pookie Wood. Who else? PJ Chris was in here. I know Mia is was here. And American Wasp with what? Dieter Business. That's a long name. All right. Much love to everybody. Thank you all for coming through. Let me go around the horn one more time. Big Pun.
Yo, it's been a pleasure. Good to see
Yeah.
Gabe. What's up? Later, PJ.
Easy.
Yo, nihilism is sounding like mighty fine right now. I don't know, man.
Yo, Bendone, aka Wrap It Up. Carlito.
Yo, go Hawks.
Go Hawks. John.
Boo. If you're in New Jersey, you need your lawnmower. Call Case.
Big Gabe. Little Gabe.
Love to Imani. She's gonna get this win tomorrow. Get
Yeah,
it
let's
out
do
there.
it, Imani. Much love to Aaliyah was in the building, and also Gamer for Life. My man Gamer, Lucky Burrito was in the Namaste, Lucky Burrito, and Rafael Rodriguez. Let me give a quick shout out to our Patreon members. Thank you so
always.
much. Pedro Hernandez, Nancy Venture, PJ Chris, Akibash, Akita, and somebody said something. Izzy, what you said?
The love always. Just wanted to give a shout out.
Oh, the love always. Much love to y'all. Thank you all so much. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us. We over here changing the world. We're going to save the world, even though I'm as pessimistic as Izzy on the climate change on the planet. I don't know what we're going to do in that.
One lawn at a time. One lawn at a time.
One lawn at a time. Much love, everybody. See y'all later.